Watch what's approaching, the supreme moment. Reality striking closer than it seems, don't it? Go ahead, it's for the taking if you want it. If not, the dream dies and you'll be forever haunted. Then confront it.
What's good? I was actually planning on waiting until maintenance was over and check the official news in game, but based on the post that was updated by Dadago over on Twitter, and he kind of runs like the site called 数字でわかるDokkan Battle. So I think I have a basic understanding or well enough understanding of these skill orbs in order to basically cover some of the basic information. So I will preface this by saying this is basically preliminary information that he provided, so we don't know the full extent of all the information, and he did, basically give a heads up on that. So with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about the skill orbs coming up. So before we do so, definitely make sure to like the video. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button as well. So back to the original point, the 5-year anniversary is going to be bringing in the skill type orbs, and basically the skill orbs are essentially going to be bringing in a new level of the potential system. That's probably the best way to explain it. And if we scroll further down, basically you do have like certain requirements that you have to undergo through that, and we'll cover all those stuff here in a second. This is pretty much a summarized statement on the top, and then right here, based on the information provided in the V-Jump scan, there is going to be a training with Whis event that's going to be opening up with the 5-year anniversary. So chances are likely that that event will provide the ability to essentially farm the skill orbs, and it also does mention that there are going to be potentially other ways to acquire the skill orbs. So with that being said, let's cover the basics. So there are a couple of criteria that are required in order to get certain types of skill orbs, and we'll start off with the bronze that you see there. In order to get the fulfill the requirement for the bronze skill orbs, you do have to have a unit awakened to a UR state at the very least. And then for the silver orb, you're going to have the SA max to level 10 essentially. So I don't know if it's still SA level 10, if it's a case of an LR or not, but basically from what I understand, it's an SA level of at least 10 to get the silver skill orb. And then for the gold one, basically you have to fulfill the previous two bronze and silver orb settings or criteria, meet the fulfillment or whatever you want to call it, and then you'll have the opportunity to essentially unlock the gold skill orb. Alright, so this section is going to essentially talk about the effects. So if I read through here, スキル玉潜在能力スキルの延長的な要素で各スキル玉で HP アタックディフェンスが上降します。So basically it's explaining that the HP attack and defense could potentially be raised by using the skill orbs, and it's pretty much a further extension of the potential system that currently exists. That's pretty much probably the best way to explain it. Again, there's also potentially opportunities to impact like additional attack and criticals as well. It's pretty much saying there's it's basically known that there are existence of that impact as well. It's just not fully acknowledged at this point. Is probably the best assumption to make at this point. So this one section is talking about the type and rarity. So let's just read through here. So there are going to be rarities of the skill orbs, it looks like, and basically based on the rarity, it might actually have a better impact than some of the lesser rarity type orbs. So not really much is known, it looks like, stating regarding the types, but it looks like there are going to be like different levels of rarity depending on the skill orb. So let's see. This one is also mentioning that it's just I'm just reading through here basically. 装着できないのか、またキャラとスキル玉の属性が同じだと効果が高い。So it's essentially asking the question of whether, if you use a character with a certain type and also skill orb of a certain type, will it increase the potential impact of those skill orbs. Questions like that. It's not pretty much 100% known at this point, so basically that's pretty much what it's pointing out on that one. And then this section's talking about equipment. So basically, once you equip, I guess, these skill orbs, essentially, right? Because it's a little bit confusing, because I think at first they pretty much called it equipments, right? That was kind of like the leaked information. Now we have something called skill orbs. So it sounds like it's the same thing in this case. So basically, once you assign skill orb to a unit, basically it's saying that there's a message in game acknowledging that once you add that skill orb onto a unit, you're basically not going to be able to reverse that impact, basically. So let's see what else is here. So I guess the last paragraph is essentially saying that these are preliminary information that was mined out in the game with the latest maintenance and whatnot. So it's not 100% accurate, but I think this gives us a general overview of what potential impact this is going to have. From what I can tell, it looks like essentially this is a further extension of the current existing potential system. Whether that's a way to increase HP attack or defense, or a way to raise levels toward additional attack criticals, possibly evasion. But looks like at least from this guy, and Datago's pretty reliable when it comes to providing preliminary information. So there's definitely a lot of value in what he's saying here, and it's probably most likely correct on most areas. So I think we'll leave it at that. Again, a lot of it's still unknown at this point, but I think this will give us a general overview and awareness of what to expect with the release of the skill orbs coming up for 5-year anniversary. So as always, hopefully you found this helpful. Appreciate you watching, and I'll be on the lookout for more news if it drops. Okay, I'll catch you guys later.